The Carolina Panthers had a chance to take over sole ownership of first place in the NFC South, with this week being a game that they could possibly finish it all. But they failed. Want to find out the details and how Mr. CeeLo saw this game? Stay tuned to find out on Growlin' and Prowlin'. Welcome back, Growlers. Thank you guys so much for joining us here on this edition of Growlin' and Prowlin'. Again, you are joined by the one and only Mr. CeeLo. Panther Nation, all I can say is I am deeply and utterly disgusted. And this is why this show is coming out so late. And I know many of you are saying, well, we've gone on with the next week. I have been slightly busy, but guys, I'm not going to lie to you. I've been watching so many people that do the exact same thing that I do, and their reviews have come out late, and then you got some, in my opinion, that have come out reactionary. And I have tried to put my finger on what cost us on Sunday, and to me, it was Murphy's Law, y'all. It was like anything that could possibly go wrong, it did. And, you know, realistically, it hurts like heck. I mean, all you can say is between Bryce missing Tet before the half and Tet not catching it, and I don't want to say Bryce missed him, but Tet didn't drop it either. It was kind of one of those, you know, Tet had it, Bryce could have led him a little bit more. And then you look at the two late hits, and then I saw, a video or a reel where it said, and it showed where Bryce clearly got hit in the midst of sliding, and there was no call. And the same thing happened with Shuck. And Shuck did that twice where he took off and slid late. And I think we heard during the week, we heard one of the Panther players said that they need to do away with, sliding. I think that's somewhat fair, but I think there needs to be an alternative. If your butt slides late, you don't wait till the last minute then just decide, hey, I'm going to slide. Because ultimately, I'm also looking at this from the standpoint of if a quarterback ever decides he's going to not slide and just goes, and that's another thing, that needs to be strictly monitored. There's quarterbacks that don't even try to slide, and I think ultimately that's a problem. And I think ultimately Ransom's got to know in that situation, they don't have any timeouts. And I mean, I'm not going to blame Lathan Ransom completely, but I think ultimately that needs to be, known if that happens. That will probably be something that's brought up in every film room. I guarantee it's going to be in all 32 film rooms if that happens. Needless to say, that's one of those that's the football guys working against you after they bailed you out the 2 previous weeks. And everybody's just looking for somebody to blame. And I remember hearing the ESPN 99 The Fan, I cannot remember his name. It'll come to me when I'm done with the show. But he said it just seems like, I want many of y'all to answer this for me, because I've heard many of you, not many lately, blaming Bryce for everything that we do. But for the most part, everybody over here is pro Bryce. I didn't think Bryce played bad. I thought he actually played well. And, we look at it and we say, we didn't win in spite of, I mean, we didn't win despite Bryce. And that's the problem. A lot of this is on Canellis, guys. Canellis keeps coaching this team like he's scared to lose. And guys, I'm gonna tell you, we're never gonna win a playoff game. We're never gonna win a Super Bowl if you go out there with the idea you're gonna play conservative. Now, if we got a team that we know we're better than, then you can go in there with that same attitude. But you cannot go into a game with the attitude of, oh, I hope we don't lose. That means you've already lost. And I think ultimately, anybody that's an ultra competitor, you got to realize that you cannot go into any game with the attitude that you're going to lose from the jump. If you go in there with that attitude, then you've already been beaten. You might as well not even waste your time. Just go ahead and go home. And I'm getting that impression from Dave Canellis that he is afraid to lose a game, and that is not good. You cannot go into a game already defeated. You have to go into a game with the idea that, hey, we're going to win this thing. That has to be your attitude. Now, I get it. You know, what I did not like is when I heard somebody like Acho. I don't have no respect for him anyway. His analysis is like wet paint with no sign. I know. But when you look at how Teleshook's game was called, now don't get me wrong, what Ichiro Avero was doing, Kellen Moore did not need much creativity to get Chris Olave open. Now, I'm not going to sit here and give J.C. Horn a whole lot of grief. I do think, however, Coach Avero's got to do a better job of scheming up blitzes. I mean, you're not calling any stunts. You're not. And I had heard somebody say Derek Brown dropped back into coverage. Well, let me help you out with something. In the Seattle game tonight, ladies and gentlemen, there was a tackle that got an interception tonight. So I understand Coach Avero's madness. If you know that there's possibly, a slant coming, sometimes you can send the pressure, and just as soon as you see it, the whole purpose of that play is to throw the quarterback off. So if you don't know anything about defense, then you would make a statement like that, Brown dropping back into coverage. Heck, Notre Dame did that with Bryce Young. And so many of you who don't know who Bryce Young is, he's an edge guy that's playing defensive end. Now, I know a lot of you will say, well, defensive end is different than a defensive tackle. Partially true. Any guy that you pull off that line and drop him back somewhere, you're taking away the middle of that field. And just to keep in mind, any defender that you can get in the path of the football is always a good thing. I just think, however, we need to get more exotic with our blitz packages. I mean, like I said, you've seen Lathan Ransom do a great job getting to the quarterback. Even Trayvon Merrick, I think that is the ultimate reason why I think we definitely need to go that route. We definitely need to go into a position where we get some of our best, faster guys involved in the pass rush, because needless to say, that is what you have to be able to do. We ultimately need to get to the quarterback. This is not up for debate. We got Baker Mayfield coming in this week. Now, here's a problem that we're going to have to settle, because if Tyler Shuck was able to do what he was doing, we're going to catch problems from Baker Mayfield. And when you start dealing with individuals that can move the pocket and get out of the pocket, that can present huge issues for teams like ourselves. We got to be able to get to the QB. We got to be able to bring him down. We didn't bring Tyler Shuck down. We had issues. So, yeah, we got to be able to do certain things. But as I said, we saw Kobe Turner for the Rams pull out an interception, the 6'2", 297-pound defensive end. Even though he wasn't a tackle, he was an end. But he was right there. Got his 6'2", 297. That's more like a tackle. But as I said, There are little bitty things that can cost you in a game, but I ultimately look at this game and I say to myself, this is one that you look at and you just say, we could have done this right. We would have done this. There's a lot of little things. When you lose by a margin like this, there's a lot of little things. And I really got tired of hearing guys on the Panthers playbook talking about the millions of things that could have went right. This game just wasn't meant for us. And then coupled by the fact that on a play where if you just stop him or make him slide earlier, it's still a 60-something yard field goal. So I don't blame Ransom as much as I'm looking at the fact that, you know, you're being an athlete. You're being a player. And then, of course, Shuck said he sold it, which the NFL made an ass out of. And then, of course, the NFL sent a memo saying that they screwed up on the Tedder rule, which I was screaming at the TV set when his hand came off the ball. The ball never moved. Ball never moved. Ball never moved. The rule clearly states ball can touch the ground if the ball never moves or leaves possession, or possession is attained by the ground or with the assistance of the ground. So, once again, the officiating is just absolutely trash all over the place, whether it's the NFL, the college, the SEC, college football in general. But looking at what happened in this game, I'm still not over this. People keep saying, dust yourself off and get back up again. But when you're a competitor and you got a game that you had under control for the most part until the final kick, like I said, I'm gonna lay some of this at Coach Evero as well as Dave Canellis, because when you see that beautiful throw that Bryce made to, Jalen Coker, guys, look, if you watch the play carefully, there was no separation by Coker. All he did was he got him jumped off enough that the safety was able to lay inside. That's it. And I'm like frustrated right now because I see how beautiful a ball Bryce threw there. Why can't we do that more? Why do we have to have everybody running daggum curls, slants? We have to stretch the damn field. If there's one thing that I can look at this game and say, why don't we do more of, it's stretch the field. And the other thing, where's the offense that we had against the Falcons? You're not going to sit here and tell me I'm pausing right now because I'm frustrated with Dave Canellis. You're not going to sit here and tell me that the only thing you know how to script is the first drive. You can't tell me that. To all my peeps, especially at Panthers Playbook, y'all sat there and y'all praised Rico Dowdle when he was tearing it up. I'm waiting on y'all to start admitting that y'all was wrong. The fact is, Dowdle was pretty good, but this offensive line has done a great job, and they've been shut down the last 2 weeks. And this offensive line has not been as good as y'all said it was because New Orleans was getting to Bryce. Bryce did a great job getting out of several sacks. His elusiveness is underappreciated. And I hope any of y'all out there watching will echo this, because it can't be overstated enough. Bryce kept us in a lot of plays because the offensive line was not good. And I heard Ike Ekwonu was working through an injury, but he got cooked several times. Austin Corbett got cooked. And I'm hoping we can somehow muster up a win and we can get Robert Hunt back. We need him. Because I'm going to be honest with you guys, we're sitting here talking about getting a pass rusher. I think ultimately we've done a pretty good job. Avero's done a pretty good job, but the secondary has been so much better than anticipated. I do think we need to be thinking about going out and getting another tackle. Because I'm going to be honest with you, I don't think Ekwonu is it at left tackle. I know a lot of people are going to have some contention with what I said, but with Moulton completely signed, we may be thinking about moving Ike Ekwonu to right tackle for his career, because I don't know if he's that left tackle. He's showing signs that he's not consistent as a pass blocker on the left. And as far as it concerns me, you can never have enough good tackles. Because worst case scenario, a guy doesn't work out at tackle, guess what? You can move him to guard. I do think Cade Mays has done a good job. I think ultimately it's going to come down to, I think Cade Mays will end up staying that guy. I think he's done a phenomenal job with what he's got. I think ultimately getting Robert Hunt back is going to make him better, because these guys are so good at one-on-one blocking, whether it's in the run game, pass game. He can pass off blocks and help out in the run game. The ultimate job of the center, if the guards are good enough, is to get up to that second level. Or if you got guards that are pulling, you're supposed to help contain the guys that are coming off the backside or coming up on the front end. But overall, I was happy about the 2 shots that we got to Coke. I was very happy about the shot to Leggett because, needless to say, Bryce was under duress. And that ball he flung up there, if that ball would have been a little bit deeper, that possibly could have went for a touchdown. But not a bad throw considering that, he was under duress. Bryce is doing so many different things out there that nobody's giving him credit for, checking in the run plays. As I said, you're not getting individuals talking that noise about Rico Dowdle anymore. I love Rico Dowdle, but here's the issue. When the offensive line is not getting him past the initial front, you're not seeing much out of Rico. Rico averaged 3.1. Hell, Chuba had 8 for 29. And then when you look at the touchdown that he had a couple weeks ago, I want to see more of that. Where he catches the ball out against the Rams and just races up the outside. Sometimes you got to get out of this notion that your running backs can't be receivers. And then the other thing is, and I heard Jared Feinberg say this, and I'm like so irritated with this. I'm seeing so many more Carolina Panther writers saying we need a tight end. What for? We got a triple threat at the tight end position. That's something else we haven't seen out of Canellis this year. He has gotten very restricted since we drafted Tetero and McMillan. Don't get me wrong. At the end of the day, it is good to have a number 1. But Bryce Young, at the end of the day, has a lot of number 1s out there. When you get guys like Tommy Tremble, who is really starting to show what he can do with the ball in his hands, Canellis' best game was the Falcons game. Not because Bryce threw for 400, but because he was not just trying to target one guy or focus in on one guy. And that was the thing. People are saying it's Bryce. I think it's Canellis. When he calls a play, it's designed for one guy. And then when that doesn't happen, you can see exactly what's happening. That ball's either going to get thrown away or what do? I hope if any of you guys have Canellis or have access to him, let him hear this show. We've got guys at the tight end position that can make plays. We got guys in the running back room that can make plays. We don't need to have one play where one route or one guy is the primary target. I'm not saying just one. I'm not saying you can't make somebody the primary target. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is you can't have only one primary target. You have to have a play designed where guess what? You see that? You got to have an alternative there. If you see a certain defense, then guess what? That can't be your primary read. There's got to be something else. And I know what people are going to say. Well, how do you do that? Look, if you're a great play designer, you already understand that you're going to get to the line of scrimmage, that they're going to show either blitz or they're going to show zone or they're going to show man. You got to have alternatives in that route tree. You got to. And I hate pick plays because needless to say, if the officials do their job, they should be called every play. They should be called. But I think ultimately we need to go back to motion. We need to go back to, I want y'all to look at something. Do you see how many carries Horn had? You see how many carries XL had? This is important. Why? Let me explain why this is important. You have to get these guys the ball. You have to get them the ball. You have to find creative ways to get them the ball. This is why I had a problem when I heard, I don't remember if it was Acho or whoever it was calling Canellis an offensive genius. He ain't been calling plays long enough to be no genius. So you have to get creative with these type of players. One thing, Panther Nation, we need to realize, we got some talented guys out there on the outside. We do. It's up to Canellis to make this. Now, to wrap this up and bring this home, because like I said, the show I'm doing on the Buccaneers is going to come out real soon too. It's probably going to be back to back. But ultimately, guys, there was nothing except Shuck throwing for 272 and Chris Olave going for 85-1. You can't be that predictable. And ultimately, Canellis, you're going to have to understand, if we are getting pressured that easily, we got to put some throws in there for the backs and the tight ends. There's no excuse in that. Our wide receivers should not be running the routes that our tight ends. I'm going to say this for the millionth time. Wide receivers should not be running routes that our tight ends can eat up. Mitchell Evans can make plays. Tommy Tremble has shown you he can make plays when he gets the ball in his hand. And Jatavian Sanders has shown he can make plays when you get him the ball. But you have to let them eat up the short stuff. Let's stop giving our wide receivers the short stuff. Can we please stretch the field with our wide receivers? That's all I'm asking. And even take a shot or two to Tommy Tremble, a shot or two to Mitchell Evans, or a shot or two to Jatavian Sanders. If you're that worried about the tight ends not getting the short stuff, hey, we can always take a corner route with Jatavian Sanders or a corner route with Tremble and Mitchell Evans. Hell, Mitchell Evans ran corner routes at Notre Dame. What are we doing? You got to give guys chance. You can't go out there like that's the last time you're going to have the football. You don't see Matt Stafford doing that. They know they're going to get the ball back. You go out there thinking that's the last time and you're playing conservative with the football, guess what's going to happen? You ain't going to get nothing done. But you also got to get creative with your running game. You can't just let it be the Rico Dowdle, Chuba Hubbard, and then when Bryce has everything break down, he's your tied for your leading rusher on the team. If that's the case, then we need to set up some design runs for Bryce. Just saying. But guys, let me know what you think as we go down and look at everything, because yeah, I was disappointed, but then the Panthers also had 5 sacks in this game. Yeah, we have to really, as Christian Roseboom had a sack, Bobby Brown, who had a really good game, 6 tackles and a half a sack. DJ Wanham had 2 sacks in this game. Nick Scorton had a half sack in this game. He was all over the place, but the numbers don't really show. Ashawn Robinson had a good game. Derek Brown had a good game. Nick Scott had 10 tackles. I'm still going to be hard on him because he's finally starting to tackle a little bit. J.C. Horn had 7 tackles, but he's really been getting roasted by everybody around here with the whole Chris Olave, touchdown drive. Mike Jackson had a pretty good game, had a pass defense. As I said, Roseboom had 6 tackles and a would-be fumble that should have been recovered. That was knocked out by Mike Jackson. Like I said, he's been playing out of his mind lately, and that'd be Mike Jackson. Trayvon Merrick had a good game. Like I said, DJ Wanham had 4 tackles and a sack. Ashawn Robinson, once again having a really good game on the day. Really glad that they gave Bobby Brown the start this week. He really looked good. Like I said, not really seeing much out of Princely Emmanuel, as we expectedly didn't think we would in his first season. But overall, very proud of these guys, despite the loss. It's just one of those games, Panther Nation. We got to look at it, and there was a million things that went wrong that did not go exactly right. And sometimes these little things can add up. And I know everybody's talking about the penalties. Let's stop it. So many people are saying adjust to the officiating. These officials were terrible. Let's just call it what it is. And I get it. You're going to say, well, how do we win games like this? Well, we've got to be perfect. I hate to say it. We just got to be perfect. Really, this is nobody's fault except we needed Robert Hunt. We didn't get the run game going. So it is what it is. And ultimately, we just gotta be better. That's all. That's the only thing you can say. We gotta be better. But let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Make sure if you are a new-time subscriber, you make sure you hit me down in the comments. Also, if you got a different variance of opinion of mine, basically let me know. Just be nice. I will comment on all comments, ladies and gentlemen. If you are a first-time viewer, please make sure you subscribe and thumbs up the show. Also, make sure you hit that bell notification so that when I have a show or a short that comes out, you guys will be the first to check it out. Make sure you go over to Facebook at Growlin' and Prowlin', the group, as well as the Facebook page. Like it and join the group. Go over to my Instagram and check me out at Mr. CeeLo so you can check out what all the in-season shenanigans that I will be caught up in. Finally, make sure you head over to the sponsor of the show, Luma Vita, and check out TF Man. Because being the effing man means taking care of your own damn skin. Hope you guys have a Merry Christmas, and I will be back with you shortly to preview the NFC South matchup between the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and your Carolina Panthers. But until the next time, don't forget to leave your mark while prowling the airwaves and growling out. Keep pounding.